So I'm super, super excited. As we know, May is networking, which is super exciting. And I do want this one to be really engaging because networking is engaging. It's like you have to be an active participant to network. It doesn't just like happen randomly. So I'd love for you guys just to type in like, what is networking or what do you think networking is? Or I guess we can, if you guys want, we can unmute if it's easier for you guys just to say it. Well, we could do it on, we could do it live.
Networking is connecting with other people.
I love that. Don?
It's making contacts, for your business or just in general.
And what do you both think the purpose would be of like making a contact or making a connection?
Well, if you make a contact for business, I mean, ultimately you want to find out what problem or service you can provide them to maybe solve and get them as a client.
Okay. Brian?
To expand your outreach, to
I like
expand
that.
your sphere of possibilities,
I like that.
to
Yes.
gain access to knowledge you wouldn't have on your own.
I really like that a lot. I
Yeah,
like that. I think those both are good. And so when I looked this up, right, it said the action or process of interacting with others to exchange information and develop professional or social contacts. So I thought that was really interesting. I'll leave it here. My kind of definition when I was like rooming through my mind or I was reflecting on my life was that I've looked at networking is something that happens with every interaction. There's an opportunity to connect. So Brian, the thing that I love that you said, which I thought was powerful, was connect. Don, I think the opportunity, I like what you shared. The opportunity would be that networking isn't just for business, because if that's the sole intention of I'm only here to connect for business, or I'm only here to connect for whatever, it's conditional. We're networking, we want to be open and love. And it's like an ever-growing network, ever-growing evolution. So what I would view network is it's available every interaction and it's an opportunity to connect. Every moment there's an opportunity to open our heart. And networking, in my opinion, is just that. It's opening your heart where instantaneously you create a memory within someone, a remembrance of who you are, of who they are, and you'll be present when the right opportunity calls upon. That's what I really feel like the heart and core of networking is, when you really nail it. And I think that's probably why I'm going to go through the story, but I think that's why I've created success really easily in my life, or I've done it is because, or I still do, let's say, is because I know how to meet someone. I know how to be more interested in them than interesting. And then I know how to make sure that they're going to remember me when the right moment comes, even if that's years or a decade down the road. And that is really networking. It's like the memory within them is so strong of who you are because your connection was so powerful. Hey, James. And so the next thing that I wanted to ask you guys is, why does networking matter?
Because you can't do it all yourself.
I like that. Don?
well, how else are you, you network anyway with people on an everyday, unless you live in a bubble.
Yeah, I agree. I like that a lot. You do it every day, whether it's to your benefit, unconscious, or you're actually leveraging the everyday people you're meeting. It's up to you, but I like that. What about you, James? Why is networking important?
You never know who you can help, and you never know who can help you.
Yeah. One thing I just learned. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. You'll never know, how that's going to play out over the years.
Yeah. One thing I think that I learned, I went to a business summit this Saturday with Grant Cardone, and he said this, and I never really thought about this, but he said, it's more important who knows you than who you know. And I was like, wow, that is so true, because who you know is going to be the person or sorry, who knows you is going to be the person that offers you somewhere than who you already know, because who you already know has only gotten you to where you're at in life. Who knows you is going to get you to that next level. So what I put here is why networking matters is because it dictates the quality of our life. Because if you remember, the quality of our life is determined by the quality of our communication. And the quality of our communication equals the quality of our relationships, which equals the quality of our life. This is like my new equation of life. I typed it in the chat, so you guys have it. Quality of communication equals quality of relationships equals quality of life. And networking, right? You cannot network if you don't know how to communicate. You cannot network if you don't have the intention to stay connected. You cannot network if you don't know, how do I even talk to someone and what do I even say? How do I stay connected? How do I make right what I said? How do I make a memory within them so that I'm thought about when the right opportunity comes? This is what we're going to cover tonight. So the first thing before we get into it, I want to go into this. How has networking been taught to you guys? Like how, like, and there's no wrong or right. We're just, get it all out there. Like how were you taught to network? There's nothing wrong. Just, get it out. So we all can see the different ways we all been taught.
Yeah, you just go to an event, you exchange business cards, you meet people, sometimes there's drinks involved. My former girlfriend contemptuously called the drink working.
I like it. Anybody else? Brian, Don?
I guess I don't have any good insights to land on this one.
Well,
If
I
you
mean,
could take a wild guess though, like if it was, what was it? If you think back in college or high school, like, are you just, there's nothing.
Back in high school, I networked with a computer.
Okay. What about, like, there wasn't anything you ever learned, like in any of your jobs or anything?
Not in high school.
Well, what about, just
No,
your whole career, your whole life?
I'm going back to a high school class reunion this weekend.
Okay.
And I never went back to one until the 30th because I was never close to anybody in high school because I was always playing on the computer. I didn't network at all.
Okay. But I'm saying like, I was going all the way back to high school. It can be before then though. Like what, like somewhere in your life, you had to have been taught about networking or no?
I don't know that I was ever taught.
Okay.
I think I kind of learned in the school of hard knocks.
Okay. And what did you learn from it?
Whatever it is, I'm not doing it right.
Okay. And why, like, tell me why you say that. Just that we're all being honest because it's important.
Well, what you said earlier about being interested rather than interesting was something I had never had mentioned to me before.
Mm.
And so, I thought if I was interesting, then people would want to hang around and hear what I had to say. And so it was kind of all about me.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. And Don?
mine's kind of along with Brian.
Mhm.
I mean, if I go back when I was young, I was never taught.
Okay.
Basically growing up in a military family, moving all the time. I mean, you make friends, you lose friends, you never communicated with them again. You never saw them again at a young age. When I got into high school, it was go join a club, manager of the football team, get to know the guys that way, speech, well, not speech, but not even debate, but just classes.
Yeah.
Then as I went into the workforce,
I'm listening. Sorry, just this little heater right here. Like it gets hot and then cold, but go on. Sorry.
I got into the workforce and it was never really taught. It was just like
Expected.
go to work, expected, do the best you can. Well, first of all, my second employer, I was flat out told he didn't like me.
Oh,
And I
wow.
went to work and, he gave me the shit jobs that nobody, go clean this out, go clean this out, that kind of thing like that. And I didn't like it. And I just like, I had to work. And I'd go home and I'd cry and my dad would say, go do it again.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Don't let him get the best of him. Just go
Yeah.
do it again.
I'm happy you shared that.
Later on, as you got into selling,
Yeah.
multi-level marketing, it was make a list of all the people you know. Talk to them, cold calls, that kind of thing. So, and then it gradually developed, and as you make the connections, people know you, you know people. So a lot of it was me, need-based. It's like Brian said, all about me, and yeah, it kind of worked, but it kind of didn't work.
Yeah.
I got a lot of working with youth. I got a lot of people that I could contact you that I could draw resources in to do things like that. But overall, I mean, at such a young age, just networking, making friends, that's always been hard. So
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm happy you guys shared that. This is like really, really good. So thank you for that. So I was kind of really lucky. I was thinking about this. I'm going to share a story, but when I was in college, I was 17 when I graduated high school and started college. And so there was a guy, it was called Multicultural Business Students. And it was the largest business organization at Michigan State under it. And, you can go to SBI. It was like a summer business institute. And so I got the opportunity. It's totally free. I think it's sponsored completely. And by big corporations, like there was like Ford, Altria. I don't think we had to pay for anything, to be honest, but you couldn't have your phones for a whole week, which right at 17 seemed like the end of the world. So I went and you had to get like applied and selected, and they looked at things. And I met Dr. Betts, who is the, assistant dean to the business college. And this man really changed my life, right? In many ways, I got to go to Cuba, South Africa. This is what got me able to go to London. This is what got me my first internship as a freshman when it wasn't supposed to be till you're a junior. Like, he really opened the door. And the biggest thing he always told me was, get comfortable in the uncomfortable, and like always put yourself out there. And you always want to say like, here's who I am, but here's why I'm interested in you, or I've looked up why I'm interested in you, or I see why I'm interested in you, and here's how it relates to me. Like, you're always putting like, and that was more with like companies, right? But he would say like, you want to look up the company. What is the values of the company? What is their culture like? And then you want to share a story on why that relates to you. So that opens up a conversation of connection. It opens up a memory that can occur between two of you because you have two things that are in common already. So I feel like I got really, really good at probably networking really young because of this. And this is probably why I've seen the way I do about relationships or connection. So I want you to know that the way, though, that networking has been taught, kind of as James, you described it, is completely wrong when it's coming to business, when it's coming to like your own entrepreneur, when it's coming to heart-centered connections, and when it's coming to really creating memories within someone, right? So the wrong way to network would be to go to someone and give them your business card and want business card and be like, whatever. I'm probably never going to hear from them again, right? That's probably not, that's not the right way. Another way that's not the right way to network, which we've all been taught, is, hi, my name is Colleen. I have an online coaching education company. What do you do? Great. How can I help you? How can I help you? Who do you know? Like, it's very manufactured. It's very like, you say this, then I say this, then you say this, then I like, there's no soul, there's no heart, there's no memory of that. Like, why would I remember anyone with like that? There's nothing. I can't feel anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, think of the person that walks into, you're at a coffee stop or you're at a gas station, right? Think of the person that is just in, out, up, down, very like whatever. Like, you probably seen what, tens of thousands of those people in your life, right? But there's someone been at the coffee store or the gas station where you've been like, if I really think to it, there was this one time where there's this crazy experience, or there's this crazy car, there was this crazy whatever. And that was memorable to you because it evoked an emotion in you. And maybe you went and talked to that person, maybe you went and said something. Maybe there was a homeless person one time and you went and bought food for them, like whatever that it was, right? But you felt something. And you always want to become the person with networking because every opportunity, every moment is an opportunity to network. Every single experience is an opportunity to connect. Every single one is an opportunity to connect. You always want to feel like, what am I doing to be observant, to be open to the right opportunity to connect, to network. So you can use networking and connecting the same kind of, one's more masculine, one's feminine, but they really are interchangeable words. So like I said, the first part, when you start doing this, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Like when I was a freshman, right, it was very uncomfortable because I was told, you're not going to get a paid internship. You're not going to get a paid internship. And I was like, motherfuckers, yes, I am. Like, you know, like, so this was like what it was told. And in my head, it was like, no. So I remember I showed up to the first career fair and there was some companies I knew hired sophomores. So, right, I found that out. I researched, right? I still researched I became more interested than interesting. I researched who was right, like what would be. I looked at their stuff. I had my little, what's it called? Like your little portfolio, padfolio, and I would have the name of the company. I had their values of like what it was, and then the story that related me to those values and why I wanted to work for them, what intrigued me about, whether it was like a current event that came in there, whether I heard them speak, whether it was like something about their company that I just learned. I would like write it there. So I would literally have like 7 or 8 or 10 companies where I would have this thing. So do you think me going up and saying, hey, my name is Colleen Gallagher, I remember Shell Oil. I really like Shell Oil because you guys are in Houston. It's warm weather. And I also saw that you were one of the first companies to have, I think it was like new type of equipment that was sustainable. This is like when sustainability wasn't quite a thing. So you're one of the first oil companies I've seen to do that. And this is really important to me because, and I would say that. And so I was like, also, I saw that you have this internship. I know that it's only for juniors or seniors, but I wanted to at least come up as a freshman and connect because I'm very interested and intrigued in your industry. They would be like, wow, what's your name? Like there was nothing because I already showed so much interest in them. It wasn't even about me. It was about what they're doing and why I cared about it. I know whatever, and let's get your business card. Do you see the difference in that versus like going up and be like, I have this success and this success, and I was this and this and this and this and this. I had all those things, but my energy when I came up to them spoke louder than any accomplishment. Does that make sense?
So another way about them, not was interested about you.
Yes. Do you see what, like I researched Shell Oil Company, like Enterprise Rent-A-Car, Altria, and Altria, they knew I was never, like, to be fair, like Altria was really involved in this organization, like this business organization I was in. You can kind of call like the business organization was like a fraternity or whatever. It wasn't, but you could say like, that's how involved I was. It took the same amount of time and energy and effort. So like, it was the same involvement, but it wasn't, I was like on the board and president, whatever. But Altria, they were really involved. I was never obviously going to work for a tobacco company because I had cancer, and especially thyroid cancer. That's like lung cancer. So like, you know, that doesn't really work. But I was really good friends with the recruiting agents, like the HR people. So they would come up, even if I was at the recruiting room, they'd be like my opener. I'd be like, hey, because I knew them, I'm like, can you be my opener? And I would like test with them. And they'd be like, sure, go ahead. And so I would like, they'd be my warmer upper in a way for me to go talk to these other recruiting firms or HRs of these big companies like GM, Ford, like where it was doing this. But see how I made that network where we knew we weren't aligned, but they knew they could still serve me in being an opener. But it was because I still was I knew their company. I knew what it was about. I recommended many people to them. Like there was many people in the organization I would send to them. They knew if Colleen sent them, they were like already Colleen approved. Like I, you know, drilled into them, whatever that it was. So there was obviously like, you know, things, but again, right. I was more interested than interesting. We knew that it wasn't a fit, but there was other ways we could add value. So that's in a business, that's in a very corporate business sense. So like for each of you, if you're in a corporate setting, you go to a corporate job or you're in whatever, you want to always look like, I want to be more interested in my boss, right? When I had customers that I didn't know shit about the electricity industry, like how as me as not an electrical engineer, how did I cover 0 to $1 million in oil and gas in a down industry in Houston? It was, everyone was getting laid off in oil and gas. Still had $1 million. People were losing, like big accounts were losing $5-10 million. And I grew $1 million for the business, which is why I got this account, or this is why they got these 5 key accounts over on the East Coast, which was a $3 million territory, which grew in $5 million because all of this was adding value to the customer. I would literally sit there and be like, I'm so interested in your business. Tell me, even though I didn't know shit about any of these businesses, they would say words that I had no idea. And I'm like, I'm going to write these words down and there's going to be a technical engineer that can help me understand this later to sell what I need to sell. Like, that is what I was like, I was like sitting there and this is what I was doing. And then obviously I came to the realization, this doesn't make me happy, right? I'm doing something and I could apply this skill set somewhere else to something that makes me passionate, which is people, which is love, which is connection. But I was doing this, I was applying when I'm applying to the same thing. I was just suffering over here. And so the only reason I got those sales is because I would be so interested in their business. And genuinely, I really thought I still think OEM, original equipment manufacturers, even like the coins that they have, like, I think that is such an interesting business model. It's manufacturers that are small, that are dynamic, that don't do the big guys. But it's so fascinating to me. Like they're a huge part of America's GDP. Like I find it so incredible. And so I really liked that. I really enjoyed it. And how then to apply that right to your personal life, right? So this isn't for everybody, right? Like I'm very particular. I know who I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking for. I'm not going to be now, right? I'm probably not going to be talking to the guy. I can't say ever, because there is a client of mine, James. You can see him on, not you, a different one. You can see him on Facebook. He comments on a lot of my stuff. He's a farmer guy and he's so funny. I love him because he is like, we're trying to get him into the online world. He's so funny, but I love him. Right. But I probably, if it was just the regular world, I wouldn't probably go up to him. But because I met him the way I did, he's so epic. I love him as a client. He's amazing. But I wouldn't like in my free time, if someone like, you wouldn't see me talking to maybe someone who's like an OnlyFans person. I mean, not ever, but probably wouldn't be like my top of the line person that I'm going to connect with. I'm very specific. I can feel them. I can see them. Dawn, you would be able to see them clairvoyantly. You'd be like, whoa, something's happening in their field. You get better at practicing this person. Okay, so let me go up to them. Let me find something in common. Is it purple nails? Do they have a sweater on? Do they have a logo of like a Michigan State or Michigan on? Are they wearing a magical creature? Do they have a crystal on? Like I have these key things, which we've talked about in other trainings, that you have to figure out what your triggers are, right? Is their purse a certain color? Are they buying something specific at the grocery store, whatever that it is? But there's something specific where I can go, wow, you like that too? I'm noticing, I'm interested in them. Me too. What got you interested in that? Or whatever that it is. But it's picking up these small cues so you have an in to open the conversation, but it was based around them. That's how it transitions to a more personal standpoint, to like someone that's totally not random, but random. And let's say on the street or in the grocery store, on the coffee shop, or getting your nails done. Does that make sense? So none of the rest is going to matter.
That's magical. Just,
Okay.
To notice those types of things you're interested in or pick up on. That's your intuitive clue that these are the people, you're more likely to have success connecting.
Yeah, but it's not originally, right? It wasn't intuitive, because you have to remember, when I started networking, I was always like, I guess, intense, or like, I was definitely more intense then. Like, I was like, I'm going to do this. Like, now I'm I'm more relaxed now for sure. I'm more in my feminine nature. I was very masculine then. Trust me. There was nothing feminine about Colleen. There was zero, like nothing feminine. So my intuition didn't really fully come online right until April of 2019. So we're talking about back in 2011. We're talking about a long time that I suffered. Like, you have to remember, I suffered a long time by doing this logically. So even if you're not intuitive, which each of you are, you can still pick this up by the other ways I do. Like right now, I wouldn't have to like Google a company and look at like, what is their values? I would intuitively know. Right. But I still found ways. Like I would still see if like someone was wearing the color pink. I love your color pink. I still would be at the bar and be like, oh my God, I love this. Like there was still things that I loved that I would see, or I would know. Like, I would be like, I love this song. If someone else loved it, I'd like leave my table and go talk to them. Like I always was finding ways, like, this woman, her name, we were in the bathroom. This was back, what was it? What's the Super Bowl? We were in the Super Bowl. We were in the bathroom. I was at this big event. It was really cool. And she noticed my wrist and she said, oh, Christella, what is that? And I said, it's a crystalline. She goes, oh, my name is Liliella or something. I was like, oh my God. So immediately have to connect on Instagram. I was like going, because I had an Uber coming, but I was like, have to connect on Instagram. We'll be connected with her ever since. She's bought 2 of my books. Like, I think she listened to my podcast too. Like that was just months ago. right? So that was like a way, right? But it's always looking at like, you want to be interested. You're always looking for how to be interested. And it's not a way of like manufacture, right? It's the same way. You can't just go to someone, hi, what do you do? Hi, this looks cool. Like genuinely cool. Otherwise, right? I don't want to say they're they're a non-factor, but I used to call this, I said they're a non-factor in my life. But in a way, like if there's nothing that I'm genuinely interested in, it is a non-factor. And I'm not saying that in a mean way. It's just, I'm focused. I know where I want to go. I know what's happening. So if you're here, I'm going to go for it. And it is uncomfortable. Sometimes you're like, shit, am I going to be rejected? Or is someone going to think I'm crazy for saying this? And I've always learned, like, when I've seen that and said the thing, it's never resulted in crazy. Maybe someone might be like, no, actually, no. When it's been a signal, like I've never had it be anything but good. So it doesn't have to always be like what you said, James, intuitive, because it's not. It also can be like, let me just start with my favorite colors, red. Brian wears red a lot. So if I was even wearing the same color shirt, which is your root chakra, which is no surprising because you're grounded. So like but if I knew that about myself, right? And I, even at a store, I would be like, wow, you're wearing a red shirt too. Like, is that your favorite color? Like I would say this even if I didn't feel it, I would just be bored sitting in line. Like I'm fucking bored sitting in line. I'm going to talk to somebody. Like, I would do this because every opportunity is an opportunity to connect. So it's not always intuitive. It can be once you get there, but it doesn't have to be like this magical intuitive gift, but it can be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And frankly, it would give me more confidence in terms of connecting with more people.
Yeah. And you have to know, like, it might sound awkward the first few times, like, and that's fine. So like, okay. So the other thing that I would do, like what I was saying, when I was in college and I would go to these career fairs, right? Because you want to get a job, and I would make all these connections. I was like, if I make these connections when I'm a freshman and I come back every semester, by the time I'm a junior or senior, because my goal is I wanted to have a job by the time my first career fair of senior year. So basically my whole senior year, I already had a job. That was like, well, that was the goal. And I was like, if I'm talking to these people from my freshman and they see that I have a community service chair, I'm a vice president chair, I'm a president. Like they keep seeing more stuff I'm doing. I created this unknown cancer event. Like I did all these things. Like they're seeing me over the years, 3 years, internships, this no brainer. I'm going to have a job by the first semester. Right. So how many times did I go up to people, even in that time, where I knew the answer was no? I knew, hey, we don't take sophomores. We don't take freshmen. I knew the answer was no, but I still did it in the plan for the future. How many posts, how many offers, how many things I've put out online where even if it was a no, even if nobody said no, I still did it. There was times in my first year in business, remember, I think I told you guys, I did a live free training every week for like half of a year, I think, 6 months. Yeah, half a year. Every week. Even if no one was there, I showed up and did the training. Just to practice. And that's how I can come on now with basically, I don't want to say minimal effort because that's not it, but I can come on now and you're like, how did she do that so easily or talk for so long or da-da-da-da? Because I had 6 months. You have to remember when I first started my business, every week I would do it. And, so yeah, there's that. So, I always went to ask for it, even if I knew it would be no. In my business, I was posting long before money was showing up. I still feel like I'm posting right now, even before real opportunities are showing up. Like opportunities are showing up, but I feel like I'm still posting right now. I'm like, holy shit, like it's going to get so much better. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I can tell you guys this, but you cannot tell us all. This is so exciting. But if you guys didn't see, Gabby Bernstein and I had a Q&A on my live. And if you guys have read my 3rd book, she's in my 3rd book. If you want to even know a crazier story, I might share this later on the live too. But when I went to my therapy session, which I thought was going to be a therapy session for something else because of a podcast listening with Gabby, I scheduled this therapy session. And ironically, that therapy session was the exact day of my 2nd pill of my abortion. This book she's writing right now called Happy Days. When she's writing this book, or I think started, or hadn't quite started, she had to have an abortion of her son. Otherwise she would have died. Okay, so why I brought this up, she is now going to be on my podcast June 10th. She's a 9-time New York selling best author. I was like on her thing, a million people, like, this is like so insane to me. Like, and her team's like emailing me. And of course I'm like, send them, like, listen to her book. Like, oh my God. but what I'm saying is that's what I mean by like, I still feel like I'm posting, there's not opportunities yet, what I'm like, I still feel like this is happening. Right. But I'm still doing it. I'm still showing up, even though like, I'm like, oh my God, finally. But do you know how many times are probably in my mind, like Gabby's never gonna be on this or Gabby, whatever. I followed up Grant Cardone on my podcast. I followed up another woman, Melanie. But like, even the fact that I had David Meltzer, I mean, that he's amazing too, but Gabby's incredible because she's inspired so much of my work. And like, it's like almost Abraham Hicks being on your podcast, but maybe that'll happen for me. Who knows? Like, but it's like that thing, I'm still doing the things I don't know. And that's the power of networking. It's like, you're still doing it, but you're doing it out of desire. You're doing it out of sharing. You're doing it out of openness. That is like true networking. And the only reason I'm on it, right, is her team was like watching my live before she said yes. They watched me for a week or 2 weeks. They joined my live. They're watching my things. I'm sure they looked all over my website because she can't just join anybody's. That'd be insane for her at the level she's at. She probably gets like 100 requests a day for, I mean, maybe not that many, but quite a few for all these things, I mean, it's only 15 minutes, but still it's 15 minutes. Like it's, and who knows what that's going to lead to, but that's networking. And right. It's still not about me. I'm still more interested in her and her book of happy days and highlighting her, whatever. It's still, even in that, it was never really about me. Even on my live with her, the question I asked still very much was around her, me and her. So be more interested than interesting. Okay. It's all about sharing. You have to share who you are, who you truly are, which is like, it is. You have to connect. You have to be you. So when others find you, they can open up. They feel safe to open up, because if you aren't being you, and you don't feel safe to be you, how can someone else open up to you and feel safe to be them? Because you're not even safe in yourself. So, an example that I want to give you guys is like really, this kind of even goes in more. So when I would go to my first year in business, I went to events like ServeX, which is Manny Lopez. He does it. I spoke there. I went to Thrive, which is out of Vegas. I've never been to GrowthCon with 10X, but like I've been in some of the communities or whatever. But whenever I've gone to those business events, like literally they are business events, I don't know if I can tell you one connection that I have from those events. Actually one, which was at Thrive. His name was Chris. And one out of all these events I went to that were business events, because it was so transactional. I didn't need to go to learn about business. Like I did this at school, I did whatever. But let me tell you, the events that I've gone to that are education based, like Education 2.0, oh my God, some of those people I have for life. I'm already speaking at a summit. They've invited me back to speak. I had 2 clients from it. I have 2 other people who want me to speak at other events. Like that was so incredible. I loved it. People were like, inspired me to start a podcast. You did this. Like that was so rewarding. That was a great event. Right. And that was like an event I enjoyed. I didn't feel like I was going there to get further. It was something I genuinely enjoyed. When I go to any of my electronic shows, I still have people that I've met from, back at my first one I went to, which would have been Electric Forest in Michigan, that I still connect with. And they're like, girl, it's so cool to see you go. Like, this is what you've always talked about. Like, like this is back then. I've seen meetups. There's people in meetups that I went to New Zealand. LA Fashion Week was the most recent one that was huge for me. Some of the best networking of my life there. Planes are another great networking one for me. Ubers and wine bars, because I love wine. So those are the ones where I think like you want to look at, where do you enjoy going? Because wherever you enjoy going, you're not going there to get further. You're genuinely there out of enjoyment. You're going to find the right people.
Yeah, maybe wine bars, breweries, concerts.
Yeah. And you want to make sure, like, if even for LA Fashion Week, I did the VIP. If you really like those, cons or whatever, okay, the VIP. If you can go to a brewery event, you want to do the VIP. You want to go to that level because that's where you're going to meet the right people.
Oh, wow.
Even if it's a little bit more money, but you're going to have a greater ROI. Like I've never done VIP for any of the business events, and people might say, well, that's why you haven't met the right ones. I don't think so. But every time I've done VIP for events that I loved, I met the right people, because I wasn't there to get further. I was just there for the genuine enjoyment, which created the heart connection.
Wow.
So, and it's not bad when you're at something like that too, James, if you're saying like, oh, you like this beer, this, or you notice you're interested in them, right? And then you go, oh, that's so cool. We talked about that on my Jimmy Daytona show podcast. And they're like, you have a podcast? I'm like, yeah, do you want to subscribe to it? And like, literally that's cool to do that right then. But it's like, it's not the first thing you say. It's like, it's like, they're like, oh, cool. And then you bring it out around. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So like I was at a Valentine's Day party, I think it was a while ago or this year, and I went and this guy was like, I have a cannabis thing in Michigan. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. We're in Michigan. I'm from there. So he started talking to me, and I was like, yeah, I have this podcast. Like, you have a podcast? I was like, yeah. And he's like, here, put it on my phone. Like he did it for me. But it was because I was interested, right? I found the connection. I heard brewery Michigan, or sorry, cannabis Michigan. I can't connect on cannabis because I'm not really in it. I don't know. There's nothing on it, but I could connect on Michigan. Do you see how it's always an opportunity? It's just catching it.
Yeah, it's just
So-
being open to what the being open to catching it, being open to what the trigger words are, being interested in them before you bring up your own endeavors. Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely flows well. It's
And
definitely.
it's-
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it's almost like a good flow chart of how, you're talking about them. Like let's say, hey, I met this guy. Oh, you're from Long Island as well. Neat. What part? And
What are you up to? Oh yeah. My latest episode of Jimmy Daytona show talks a little bit about, my time growing up there and some of the fun stuff I like doing there. That might be, I'm just using it as an example.
Totally. Do you see? And then they'll be like, oh my God, you have like people will open it then. And like, anytime I meet a rapper, right? I don't know, because they're all over, whatever, they're everywhere now. Like anytime I meet a rapper, I don't know shit about rap, right? I'm never going to be a rapper in this lifetime, probably. I mean, never say never, but probably not, that's not an industry I was blessed to discover. But I was like, oh my God, I actually have this one episode that's spoken word poetry that I think you'd love. Like if we start talking about it, and then they're like, oh my God, let me listen every time. And it opens the door because they know a lot of people. So, that's that. So another thing that I think would be really good homework for all of you guys is to listen to episode 103 of my podcast. If you haven't already, with Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh goes into this as a really good perspective from his perspective as well, which I think is good. But the right way to network is you want to find something in common, which we've drilled in here. So, right, purple nails. If I saw someone wearing purple, I'd be like, oh my God, we both have purple, whatever that it is. The other thing that's really important that I've learned too is if you're like playing the eye game with someone, like you're like, and this could be whatever, like you notice there's like, you're like, oh, whatever. Just say, hi, how are you? I think we underestimate the importance of just asking someone, how are you? Which I've put in my first book, Live Your Truth. Like, I really think we undervalue that question, like a genuine, hey, how are you? What's going on in your life? Like, I think we do undervalue that sometimes because that can really open up a lot. Be more interested than interesting. So creating organic conversation. So again, like if someone came to me, right, or I saw someone, I'm not going to be more interested than if I like, there's nothing in common here. I'm not going to force a connection, right? If I already know, like, there's nothing in common here. This person, this woman, this man, we are on two different wavelengths. There's just nothing. I'm not going to open my mouth to be more interested. I'm going to be focused and specific, right? Like, I'm probably not going to have conversations, like I said, with someone who's a stripper. There's nothing wrong with strippers, male or female, unless I'm going to, a party that needs them. Like, I'm not going to really do that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I don't have a lot in common, right? What am I going to say? That I'm not going to waste energy. I'm not going to exert energy that's not needed. Someone that's like not really, excited about going after living, I don't know, their potentials, or they don't have a dream, or they don't have aspirations. They're just like, yeah, like I'm probably not going to say anything to them. I'm not going to be interested. I'm not going to like push it because there's nothing. So, don't judge yourself. There's just nothing. That's it. And also it's cool, like, be confident. It's cool to ask for a connection. Hey, let's connect on Facebook, Instagram, email, whatever. Like, that's cool. And it's cool to do multiple. I used to be afraid of multiple. Like, when I left the education, I know everyone followed me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, someone had it, but then I asked every single person, can I have your email so you join my email list? Yep. Every single one said yes. I was so nervous. I was like, oh, I don't want to be too annoying. But you never know. So it's cool. Okay. So hold on. So let's all name together, each of you, 3 places where you can be better at networking. So where are 3 places in your life where after this call you go, okay, I know I can be better at networking here.
Right, places, locales. In
Yeah,
other words,
like in your real life. So like me, like probably I could be better at networking. Probably on LinkedIn. That's probably my lowest one. Probably on my walks. On my walks, I just made a new, goal this week actually, where I'm not going to bring my headphones anymore. I just want to listen to nature and do it. And eventually I want to detach from my phone on that walk. Like I'm, trying to like level up to that. So that's like a place I would really think I could, maybe better network. Cause like I see people, they look at me and I think I could be more engaging. I've been like so focused on like walking so fast. So for me, that would be another one, probably my morning walks. And, probably a third one, which like we're doing with ClickFunnels right now, which is taking longer than expected, is like having the affiliate marketing where people can actually like start making money off my business or what I've created. That's probably a better way I can network too, to like serve more people. What about you guys?
Mine would be work, because there's a big avenue there, Facebook and Instagram. So
Okay. Brian, James.
You're talking about interacting or networking with people that you don't already know.
both.
Yeah. I mean, you can do both, like, right? Like, I think like LinkedIn, people that know me, right? But I think I could be more like engaging on that platform.
I think with me, it's more, there's a whole bunch of people I could think of as Daytona show guests, people I went to Cornell with, people I know in my social circles, people I've met at conferences. There's a pretty sizable list. It's a matter of reaching back out, building that connection, together, and ultimately, being genuinely interested in them.
Yeah. What about two other places?
Two other places. Just being more mindful when I'm out and about that, there are people I could potentially meet and bring into my life, which is the main theme of tonight's class. And say Instagram, just connecting with people on there. I think there's more people to connect with on Instagram than the other sites.
I agree. And I think that Instagram is really powerful. I found that like when I like people's stuff, or I'll go in and I'll like comment on people's posts, it's really powerful for me. So I think that's something that can be really good. Like if I just like go on my explore page, and then on the explore page, I like am liking or just actually genuinely like, wow, that place looks so cool. Like, wow, like sometimes I will just scroll and literally like comment, but it's genuine. Like that is so funny, or that is whatever, like you'll tag me or things like that, but I'll do it like about them.
Hey.
And even if people comment, like I've had a podcast and someone comments on my podcast on someone else, I'll always reach out and connect with them. Or like if I notice someone who hasn't reached out to me, but they're liking a lot of my posts or they're like commenting, I'll reach them out and be like, wow, I just want to thank you. I genuinely really enjoy all the engagement and likes you do on my posts. Thank you so much. Like I will reach out and I'll be like, I'd love to know. And then they'll say something like, I'd love to know, like, what do you like about what I post? What do you like about what I share? I'll be interested, right?
Yeah, wonderful.
So that's some stuff I've done to really make some like solid connections on Instagram and Facebook. Right? Right?
So I guess I've had an advantage in that I was able to give this some thought while you were talking to the other folks. But one of the places is the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the very few places where I see new people and I could certainly connect with.
And you had that one powerful experience one time. It was a while ago, but like something where you were like, it was so easy and it was this, and oh my God.
And I also had an experience where I saw my ex at the grocery store too.
I think that was before this magical one. Yeah.
The Liberty events that I go to, like the Tap Room Tuesday that I would normally be at this evening, I end up talking to the people I know.
Okay.
Instead of connecting with the people I don't.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the launch team for this new book
Hmm.
It's a Facebook group of people that are reading the same book that I have read and are going to be writing reviews
Yep.
and all of that. And so that's an opportunity to connect with people.
Yeah. So what I always do if it's a group like that, especially Facebook group, I go in and I add every single person. So like if I'm on a podcast and someone's podcast and they have a Facebook community, and anyone who likes or comments what they post, I go and add every single one of them as friends. And then I'll reach out and I'll be like, hey, I'm so grateful you liked the podcast episode on so-and-so's on their podcast, I'd love to hear what you loved. And I genuinely reach out. I want to be interested in them.
Uh-huh.
So like I'd add them all and be like, hey, what do you think of the book so far? Like super excited to be on this project together.
Brian, I've been to that tap room, Murphy's tap room.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the tap room
Tuesdays.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
great
could-
place.
It's about an hour and 20-minute drive for me, but I end
About
up
an hour
going-
north of me at this point.
Oh, you're closer. I go a couple times a month.
Oh, neat.
Cool. So yeah, so we went through alignment, focus, accelerating momentum, victory, team building, creativity, cosmic awareness, now networking. Networking is how you be. It's how you share. It's the core of where your life will go. Networking is the quality of your communication here, the external to co-create your relationships, to co-create quality of your life. So you want to think too, like how often are you just in a rush to like go somewhere to the next thing or to whatever, like let it breathe, let it take time. You're always right where you're meant to be. Even when I haven't wanted to be somewhere, I'm right where I'm meant to be. So, okay, we're going to practice we have about a few minutes left. We have to kind of end this one right at 6, just because I have to like finish. That could be whatever.
The event for later. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that it's like bad, but I just need to like not be, yeah. So, okay, so I want to practice. I had coffee store, gym, gas station, social media. Which one do you guys want to do? What environment?
coffee store.
Okay, you want to do a coffee store? Okay, so we're going to have James and Don, you two are going to practice. So James, you're going to lead it. Like you'll lead and go up to Don and you guys are going to practice. So you're at a coffee store.
Oh, hey, Don. Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't know his name. You wouldn't know his name.
Oh, sorry. So
No,
like,
okay, go ahead.
Hey, you.
yo. I see you ordered the chicory coffee from.
From Cafe du Monde. I'm a big fan of theirs.
Have you tried the beignets?
Oh, I love beignets. Yeah, they love that place.
Yep.
There's, just love all the sugar on top. Such a good thing to eat. A nice
Yeah.
treat. The coffee's really good too.
Yeah. Where else you like going around New Orleans?
I
take it
love
you've
the
been
World War
there.
II. Yeah, I love the World War II Museum. I love Acme Oyster House, and I love the Pat O'Brien Hurricanes to close the night out.
You like burgers?
Yeah, I do.
You need to walk down to Esplanade Avenue and check out a little place called Portugal.
Nice.
They make mean burgers. And if you like the Hurricanes, they've got a drink there. It's iced tea based. It's called a Monsoon.
Oh, okay.
And it'll knock you on your butt.
Fair warning.
I love it. That was good. I think you guys did really, really good. I think that was like a perfect thing. I don't think there would have been like, what's it called? A forever connection there. But the moment was you still made a connection. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
No, some of you will have like, oh my God, there's forever. I think that was like a beautiful though, but like you would have had two things on your life experience. You're like, wow, I would have remembered this guy. I thought of him. That's what you want, right? Be a memory in someone. So then now what you told him, Don, he's going to tell maybe 5 more people all because of you. Your energy is living through this. So I think it was great. I think that was perfect. I think the only thing I would say it wasn't on James is I would say when the beignet, like you're like, oh yeah, it's good to keep it going. I would have liked to open it because Don, you kept it open. You could have easily closed it. So good job, Don. You kept it going. I would have asked first because I opened the conversation like, oh, how, like, why are you here? What got you into beignets or do you live here? Like I would have gotten into that. So he could have been like, oh, and then whatever, but it was perfect. I'm just saying if I was to start it, I would keep it open. Does that make sense, James?
Yeah, just keep going, keep talking about the beignets, in other words.
like, yeah. So if he's like, oh yeah, like what brought you to New Orleans or what got you into beignets? Like I would bring it into something like that. Because otherwise, if you would have just been like, yeah, the beignets are nice, Don could have easily just walked away and you would have,
Gotcha.
you
Gotcha.
would have lost that information that he had. Don kept it going.
Kept it going. Gotcha. All right.
And sometimes it may not be like, sometimes you're like, oh, this is awkward. Like, you'll know, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
more.
awkward.
I'm more shy and introverted. You know,
when I meet newer people.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just try to, make sure I just, I kind of have
But we
like,
got to change that, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be shy. You have a Jimmy Daytona show. You're here to do big things. You got to connect with the world. You got opportunities to share. You got things to share. You got people to operate. You got, you got people to activate. You got people to transform. Everyone's here so that you can do it. So that's great. You were shy. I'm happy that's who you were. It's not who you are anymore.
all right, okay then.
So, and I know it's not who Don was either. It's just, but I think like that was really good. And like I said, sometimes you might be at something, you're like, oh, this is awkward. I'm not going to keep it going. But most of the time you want to be the one that keeps it open. Let them close it.
Gotcha.
Because most of the time people won't close. They'll keep giving you more. Okay. So
Okay,
let's,
wait, before you go on,
Yeah.
what do you mean by closing?
closing means like, oh yeah, the beignets were good.
Okay,
There's no open. You see, like it's a closed, it's a period.
okay,
There's no,
So, like-
there's no room to grow.
okay, so like the conversation basically ends.
Yeah. But I think of it like energy, like a closed open loop, like because that's all it is. A connection is energy. So it's either like you're leaving it open, which is kind of, I guess, the opposite of if you have an open circuit versus the closed circuit. Keep on going. It's like you're leaving it open. You're like leaving it where it's like there's a connection to be birthed, or you're closing it. Like you're closing.
Okay.
Like if he was just to say like, oh yeah, beignets, I like the sugar or whatever, you'd be like, okay, yeah, dude, whatever. But if he was like, oh, what brought you here? You'd be like, oh, like what brought you here? And then he
Yeah.
would say, like, oh, here's two places. Like you still would have given him the same information, but he could have
Mhm.
lost it if you didn't keep it open.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it just depends on me, I guess the circumstance and
Yeah,
I'm
and you'll
talking
feel
to.
it, right? Like if you're somewhere,
Yeah.
like I felt it before, like with women or men where I've been like, hey, and they're like, this chick is crazy. Like, and I'm like, okay, obviously, like, I feel that that's what they're thinking. So I'm like, okay, like that's good, but that's not the majority. That's the short minority. And there has been times like what you just had, someone just told me of a really good place to eat or drink or whatever, but I had such a blast there. And I was like, oh, I'm so happy I ran into that person. They told me this, and I tell 5 more people. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. But that's networking still, because you're still, right, with consciousness, with love, you're still serving the mission. It's still living through others.
Yeah. Plus, what Don told me, I could tell some people about these Nolan's burgers.
That's what I'm
No.
saying. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, you get, so you have more raw material to work with when you're being interested.
Yes. So, okay, let's do Brian and Don, and we'll have we'll have Don, we'll have Brian, you're going to start it. You're in a coffee store.
I don't drink coffee.
Okay, where do you want to go? A coffee store, gym, gas station, social media, grocery store?
Grocery store.
Okay, grocery store. Okay.
Hey, Don, I see you got.
We don't
you
know his
got
name.
Hey, you, I see you got the Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Is there a particular reason you like that?
because it was on sale.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I have a friend who says that that's the only one that doesn't have high fructose corn syrup in it.
I don't know. I didn't look at the label.
I
I
tend to
just got it
read,
because it was on sale and I like ice cream.
I tend to read the labels because my family has a proclivity toward becoming diabetic, and there are certain things I want to avoid.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's me. My family's got that history too. And I guess I probably should be more mindful, but I mean, you gotta live. I was told
Yeah.
in moderation.
yeah, who wants to live to be 100 if it's a miserable existence?
I think it's good. I think that was a good banner. Like, I think that was a really good one. I think, again, that might have been a moment. And next time you're at the, or you could have ended maybe saying like, yeah, what's your name? In case I see you again, Don. So next time if you see me, they're going to say, hey, Don, how are you? But I think that would be still a great connection. You don't know where that's going to lead you. It's a great in, and it's still open. Does that make sense?
Sure.
How did that feel for both of you?
Well, if he really had Haagen-Dazs ice cream, that would be good.
No, he did. I think you guys did great. And how did it feel
I've
for
had
you?
Haagen-Dazs before,
Yeah,
but I do like our own store Stewart ice cream better.
I love it.
So
Okay, we'll do one last one. We're gonna do, Don, you're gonna start on James. Or no, we'll do Don, start on Brian.
what are we doing? Grocery store? Or what are we,
Oh, what do you want to do? You want to do
I
coffee
don't-
store, gym, gas station, social media, grocery store? What do you wanna do?
where are you, Brian? I don't know your
Oh.
name, but
Where do you want to be, Brian?
Let's do the gas station.
Okay.
oh. Oh, hello. I see you came in for some hot chocolate. Cold out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I like hot chocolate because I don't drink coffee.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Hey, people like, have you tried tea?
Yeah, different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Different stroke for different folks? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what brings you in here today? Get gas or
Well, gas and hot chocolate.
gas and hot chocolate?
Yeah, I wanted to see how much more gas is costing today than it did yesterday.
Well, hot chocolate's a little not expensive as the gas. So, but the gas will be going up, let me tell you. I
Yeah,
can promise you that.
it's been pretty amazing how it's skyrocketed in the last year.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you do? I mean,
I had to fill up the tank on my pickup truck and it was over $100. And I don't even live in California.
aren't you grateful that you're not paying $6 a gallon? Or is it
Yeah.
seven there? I don't know.
It was only $4.44 this morning.
I like that.
Love it.
I think that was really good. I liked it. And I think that would have been a moment, and the way to end it too would have been like, great, well, I'm, happy to connect. Or he said 444, you could have been like angel numbers or something like that. But I think it was great. And that was like, hey, what's your name? And, I wish you, I'm excited to see you soon. I think that was good. The only thing I think that could have went deeper is when Brian, he said, what brings you in here? You could have said, oh, I live around the corner, or, oh, I'm just passing through. Like you could have made something like whether it was a normal gas station you stop at, or whether you were like on an adventure stopping through. Like, I think that would have been an area to connect a little bit deeper.
Interesting.
Because if you live just around the corner, that could be your guy now at the gas station, where you're going to want to make sure you're always there when he's working, when here's whatever, like there's just like, I have people like that, like at certain places, and because it's the energy it brings. Right. And so, or if it was just like an adventure of, oh, I'm just passing through, like that would have given opportunity a little bit more for Don to have context of what it was. And then I cut it off. But Don, if he said the 444, you could be like, oh, that's interesting. Do you believe in angel numbers or lucky numbers? You could say something like that and just leave. If they go, no, you're like, okay, good, done. Get tabs open, not whatever. Or if they're like, yeah, actually, that would have been a great opener.
Mhm.
222 is a lot luckier for me than 444 is.
Yeah.
What
Anyway,
about the social media? Sorry.
Oh, go. No, either one would have been, but I think that was really, really good. But do you guys see how this can happen all the time?
Sure.
What about
So,
practicing the social media scenario?
Yeah. Do you
How
want
does
to,
that work?
you want to do it on me?
Yeah. So
Okay.
like, what do I do? It's like, do I interact on your
Do you want to do a live, or you want to do a post?
based on a post?
Okay.
Like, all right. go
So
on.
let's
Chat
say,
back,
let's say I
chat
have
back and forth.
yeah. So let's say I have a post here. So I just had a post done. And what did you write on the post?
I really like that view of the Hollywood Hills.
Love it. I would comment, like I would respond, oh my gosh, I love it. Have you been here before?
Not yet, but I'd love to go at some point.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to stay connected because I post a lot of photos like this. Or if it's okay, I have some other photos I can send you in DM.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Thank you.
And I
That's
wouldn't do it, obviously, as a woman, I wouldn't mean it if it was some guy that was being a perv, obviously I wouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? But if it was actually some person that was genuinely like this, then obvious. I mean, and then they're not inappropriate photos. It would be Hollywood Hills photos or whatever, Hollywood signs. But I'm saying if some guy was being a niff, I wouldn't send him that. But if, you know, if it was someone that was, you know, genuinely interested, I've definitely sent photos like, here's some other photos, or here's some of the night, and here's some of the day. I've definitely done that.
Nice.
So it's really easy.
All right, good.
You guys feel good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives me
Okay.
It's an interesting time to look back and see how I missed connections because I didn't realize what was going on.
I wouldn't say you miss, because you can never miss anything. You're always right where you're meant to be. Everything's occurring right as it's happening, like right as it's meant to. However,
I
now
can, I can still miss things. I can still miss things.
I think you don't want to look that way in the past, in my opinion. I don't think it's healthy to look that way in the past. I think that now, like, it's like, okay, now in the present, like everything happened and now I'm choosing to create authentic connections always. Now I'm choosing to connect. Because if it was meant to happen, it would have happened. And if something didn't happen before, it's because one of you weren't ready for it to happen.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, that's like, well, posting on Facebook, you know, you got your friends that you have, and now when people get hacked, they, you know, say, I've got hacked, don't accept any friend requests, that kind of thing. Well, I had an interesting experience. I had that happen. And I didn't know that person was on my friends list. I didn't double check. And I accepted it, and then this person started coming in, and so I just tried talking to me, not usually in the way that person does, and they says, "Oh, I heard you got hacked," and so I started kind of turning it around on them and that kind of thing like that. But
Yeah.
I've also had people where
But that would be a
Facebook-
waste of energy, right? Like
yeah,
that's what
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I just kind of let it go and just kind of
Okay.
it just kind of went away. But I've also had people, women looking for, you know, make a connection, and well, I just got one just here the other day, and she's going like, well, you know, send a friend request, and it was like, no, and then, but she did something, and it kind of. So anyway, I texted back, or I messaged her, I should say, and I says, well, you know, I don't usually do this kind of thing like that, and but in that instance, I don't know, I don't expect that to go anywhere, but I've had in the past where somebody's reached out to me and we've actually become friends over Facebook.
Yeah, like I mean, when you start to really utilize these platforms, it's the way that I've utilized them. Like it's like even I did a Mother's Day post, and like 3 of my mom's friends reached out to me. Like it was so bizarre, but I was like, that's so cool. Like, you know, like it was so epic, and I'm like messaging, and that was like so cool. Like I thought that was epic, like with that. And so, you know, there's still like I had a guy on my post today, like he was like, you're a hypocrite, and your post like is like desperate, popular woman, lonely. I mean, just all this crazy stuff, like right. And I said like something very blank slated back, like just like very neutral back. But like that will happen, but that's not the bulk of what happens, right? Like the bulk of what happens are really genuine connections. Like even I had a woman reach out lately, and I don't like when people be like, oh, do you want to join this free Facebook group or this thing or whatever? And I used to do it all the time, and I would do what I said, like I'd add these people and I'd really like get involved. I'm not in a place in my business where I need to do that now, but I would like, I'd get involved in Facebook, add friends and like connect with them. Now, like, hey, my plate feels really full and nourished, but thank you so much. And then what she said is, yeah, I'm just here doing this to support my husband. I'm like thinking, this woman is powerful as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, ideal client. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now I know, ideal client. So I'm like, hey, my love, wow, thank you so much for sharing this. And I said, you are so powerful, and what a kind, sweet soul you are to be supporting your husband. I said, I really recommend episode, and I named the episodes for her in my podcast. Please let me know how they go. I want to make sure. And then I'll follow up in like, I don't know, a week. So that's just one example of one that could have went sidetracked, or I could have let it go. But there are some people that like, I mean, I can't even tell you how many people I have in spam right now. Like I just don't reply. And I don't even approve friend requests anymore. I think once a month, maybe I sit there and I'll look and I'll do like 4. Like literally it's like, cause it's just like there and they're like booming out. I'm like, okay. Unless I already have like a ton of friends, I won't really do it. Or like, I know them. Yeah. Cause it's not that hard. It's not that, it's not that hard to, what's it called? It's not that hard to connect with me or find me. It's really not. So if someone's being like annoying, I mean, now where it was my business. Like, and especially if I have a business page and someone's like, it's like, here's my business page, love for you to follow. It's not that hard. But if you don't have a foundation, right, you can't do that. That's why important. Like you want to have something where people can connect back into you. That's the whole point of networking. Network so they can connect back in. Today was a lot about just getting there, and next call will be a lot about the connection on the back. All right, but I've got to go, guys. I'm sorry, we got like whatever, but we will have the next call, and then you can have all the answers for the Q&A. And I'll see you guys all in 30 minutes.
Colleen.
Yeah. All right, bye.